Don't blink, it's your boy Ink. We have another episode, another review episode, season 2, episode 18, and it's no 19. Sorry, it's the episode where I have to learn the name of this episode. This episode where Dwight he has his uniform, and it's a really really good episode where they find a Dwight in the parking lot, and Dwight has to find the culprit. Again, I love this episode. There's a question of morality. There's this question of loyalty to this question of the whole. It's so complex, right? We know Michael is a shitty person, right? I'm sorry. He act in very selfish ways, very often, right? So we have in the beginning we have I want to check it out. Yes, it's about they found a half joint because I did write a note. In the parking lot, Dwight is a volunteer sheriff, so he has to be like, "Yo, I'm gonna find it." So it's kind of cool because we do see Dwight in a different skill set, and Dwight we know he answered very well to authority. He had a sense for karate. Dwight always wanted to be like a figure of authority, and this was one of the case he was a volunteer sheriff, which basically takes nothing at all, right? And they do found a Dwight, so that like Dwight, since you have this training, by the way, could you be in charge of that? And Dwight, of course, a little bit of power, and he's like, yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of cool because we're interviewing every single member of the Dunder Mifflin, and it's cool because you can kind of see the general opinion on drugs. For example, you got Creed who knows his shit. You got Jim who's like, yeah, but you're gonna forget if you do it. So there's this reaction, and it's nice because there's a lot of people that are don't get enough screen time. And it's a perfect way to introduce them, right? We have the different view on drugs. Oh my God, he started to imitate, and John Krasinski, which is the actor of Jim, he's actually really talented. He does a really cool version of Stanley, until Stanley find him, and he's like, oh well, guess what? And actually, Pam has his back here. Pam, which is super cool, she has his back. She's like, no, he's doing everybody in the group, and when he does, the people are laughing, and it's like kind of cool because there's this constant joking on Dwight, and the fact that Jim isn't necessarily prosecuting Dwight. He's prosecuting everybody. I think it's more fair, and I'd rather have a class clown than a jerk who's bully, right? So I thought it was really cool. We have the whole Jinx, and it is kind of cool because Jim and Pam says the same thing. So he has to buy a Coke, and then they're out of Coke, so yeah, they're having to wait. And why it's such a good scene is because I'm gonna be complaining. I complain a lot about the relationship between Pam and Jim, but you realize that when they're not talking, not the same show anymore, and it sucks, right? Because they're two of the most vocal people in the office, right? We have the drug talk, and it's Jimmy Tate, Jinx, drug talk, and okay, basically Michael is the one that smoked the joint. He went to an Alicia concert, and he smoked some joint, and he asked Dwight to pee in a cup, so Dwight would do it. But then Dwight has a lot of like, and it's a million this episode because Dwight he does sacrifice it all. He talks about his father having his name and his grandfather having a similar name, his great grandfather having an Amish name. And why it's important is because he carried the weight of that name. He carried the honor of that name. He has a uniform and he doesn't want to do it. And it's nice because we got Angela who can't try to convince him. And a lot of people we would say that, oh, well, Angela, she's trying to convince him, but she's kind of like a bitch, blah, blah, blah. But in this case, I think Angela's trying to do the right thing. She's trying to think about Dwight, and she knows he doesn't want to do it, and Dwight don't want to do it. So the fact that he has to do it to please Michael, who couldn't care less about Dwight, sucks. Even Jim, he's like, no, why are you doing that, bro? And Jim isn't his biggest fan of Dwight, but even him, he feels bad for Dwight. And it's not about feeling bad for somebody that is important. It's important that we have a situation where one is clearly abusing the other, and everybody's reacting like, yo, Dwight, don't do that. And it sucks because it's not because he does give him a price, and it's kind of like cool that Mike gives him prize because he does feel bad, but doesn't stop that for sure he would do the same thing. This episode's super cool. I absolutely love that the humor in this one. I thought it was pretty smooth. We're starting to understand every character. We're starting to care for the characters. So the fact that we have something like that is, I just really enjoyed this episode. So I love you guys. Peace.